Okay, time for future card Buddyfight episode 7 review.
As you can see, it's just me today. Elliot's voice is still kind of dead.
Kind of dead, and other people can't show up for various reasons, so here we are. And also the sneak peek today, which, as you can see, we've had quite a day today. But we don't have everyone else here to talk about the stuff they got and what have you, so we're just going to go right into the review and
Yeah, maybe at the end mention a couple things, but that's about it.
so I guess we should just start with what happened.
Alright, so basically it starts off with the announcement of the ABC Cup.
Yep, ABC Cup. I really don't remember nor care what the acronym was.
Buddyfight.
Oh yeah, Ibo Buddyfight Championship League or something.
Yeah.
Who really gives a crap? It's a terrible name.
Yeah.
Because I know that the ABC is
ABC.
is just there because of the ABC.
It's easy. It's 1, 2, 3. I'll shut up.
And meanwhile, Noboru is looking to, I guess, prove he's the
man.
Yeah, he's the man. So he takes 2 of his lackeys to go fight in the card store.
Basically just, like...
Beat on them.
Constantly
to stroke his ego.
Meanwhile, there's an old man going around and...
On vacation.
Yeah.
They say he's a monster right at the beginning.
Yeah, they do. And it's just a guessing game of who it is till then. Hint, he's a Dragon Knight.
Yep, but while that's before anything really develops with that, Gao decides that he refuses to agree with Baku on the name.
I'm gonna be friends with everyone.
Yeah, he says in the last episode. Cut to this episode. He stops being friends with Baku because he does not want to be a part of the Mighty Sunfighter team. Because he thinks the name is dumb. So it's like, way to go, Gao. You just contradict what you
plan to do.
What your whole freaking last episode was about. It was for nothing.
Yep.
And, well, until he decides to go make his own deck, and surprise, he's bad at it.
Yeah, he makes it so big it can't even fit in the deck box.
Which is funny, because there's no deck upper limit.
Yep.
So you'd think the thing would just expand to fit his deck. But that's a different story entirely.
You can create portals. You can't create a way for that deck to get fit.
So after that happens, we got back to Noboru beating this knight out of his, I assume, friends. And the knight is watching. And then after he gets 10 wins in a row, they have to go. So he decides to go too. And the old man following him saying how they sucks.
Yeah. I just love that the whole entire time this old man's trying to talk to him, he just ignores him flat out. It's like, that's rude.
It is rude, and it's funny. Because I'll talk more at the end. Actually, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Because there's something about his character that actually is making me not hate him as much as I really want to.
Yeah, we want to hate this character, especially since it has...
We'll cut to it later.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyway, as they're walking, Tetsuya and Asuma are just kind of walking down the street.
Yeah.
And Noboru is explaining to, I don't freaking remember his name.
Dragon Knight man.
The Dragon Knight, yeah. What Modai is doing with Tetsuya. And decides that in order to prove how good he is, he's going to fight the weakest player in the school. He even says that he's going to prove how good he is by beating that wimp, is what he says.
Yeah, not really proving yourself.
Yep, that's like the best plan.
Yeah.
So anyway, then Gao gets invited to Kuguru's house. But he's told to wear a disguise. And, well, apparently she's rich.
Yeah.
I don't really... I guess every show like this has to have at least one person.
Yeah, it always has to be the rich girl.
or at least a rich person, like
Yeah.
someone who just has a lot of money, and that's why they can do what they do.
Yep. And basically, Baku decided to build a deck for
Tetsuya.
Tetsuya because he fed him a banana.
Yeah.
High in potassium, yo.
Yeah, I have to ask him, from his head, because, but they already said he can do that in the website. So he builds the deck. Apparently, Tetsuya wasn't using 4 Osmodai.
What is with these people not using 4 of their buddy?
Yeah, like that. It's like, come on, at least use 3 of them.
Yeah.
And the reason that Gao went there in disguise was he was supposed to watch a deck builder in action without, hitting on that's why he was there for. Not that it mattered. Baku also knew that he was there. I don't know what Kuru's plan was. Just have a tiny dragon wearing a cat head and a kid wearing a parka or whatever just walk into the room without identifying themselves, and Baku would not be the wiser.
Yeah, and just creepily stand in the doorway.
Like, I don't know what her plan was. Like, she has apparently all this money and a freaking family crest at the entrance that is also a computer screen.
Yeah.
A monitor. So I don't know why she didn't just,
maybe dress them up as maids and a butler?
Or, because she has this money and I was leading up to this, sets up a camera with audio and just gives him like a little iPad thingy that she carries around so he can see it.
Yeah, that would make more sense. I like your plan better.
Because, surprise, surprise, Baku knew he was there the whole time, but it didn't matter anyway because I guess he's an artiste when it comes to cards. And that part of him I actually don't mind too much. Like, I like the idea that it promotes, a person who actually spends his time with his hobby building the deck.
Mostly because that's what you do.
It is what I do. It's something I like doing best, is building decks and finding a particular craft out of them.
Yeah, so it's like they actually have a character who does the thing you do, which is nice, but at the same time, a lot of times he's an asshole.
He's a prick a lot of the time for no real explored reason.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going out of the plot. We should probably go back onto the rails.
Mm-hmm.
So the next day we got a fight in the amphitheater.
Yes.
Noboru versus Tetsuya. And before we continue, I should note that the Dragon Knight said that he should consider using more of him because he gives more gauge. And it's important because it turns out to be necessary in this fight. So I guess we'll start with the fight. Since he obviously doesn't have a buddy, he has one of those upside down pyramid things where he can luminize the deck without having a buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses a Dragon Knight Red Baron, which is a dragon plane. Like, modeled after the Red Baron's plane.
Yep.
It's actually really amazing.
I just remembered something. You mentioned the gauge thing about the old man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing the old man says is, he says you should put more of me in the deck, and whatever his name is, Kitten Shirt, says, no, I don't want to use him. He looks weak.
Yep.
But he jumps for joy at Dragon Knight Maximilian.
Yeah, Dragon Knight Maximilian's enough to make him say, oh, right. Which means that this thing must have, like, a 0 somewhere in his stats. Because, literally, you cannot get weaker than Dragon Knight Maximilian without having a 0.
1-1-1.
He's 1-1-1 size 1. He's got to have a 0 in there.
Yeah.
To make him even weaker. Which is almost terrifying to think of.
Yeah. Otherwise, this is the more plausible possibility. Kitten Shirt's just a dumbass.
No, that's very evident in the fight because apparently he did not remember from when he was sitting in the amphitheater watching Gao and Tetsuya fight that Asmodai has the ability of, when he's called, to kill a monster on the field, which he proceeds to do. And he was shocked that it happened. Writers, I don't know if you know how continuity works. But if you establish that he knows what something does, even if you want to say he forgot about it,
You gotta establish that.
you gotta establish that he did not remember, or that he forgot, or he had nothing he could do.
Mm-hmm.
You don't make him legitimately surprised that Osmodai has this ability when he knows he has that ability.
He watched it happen.
He watched it happen.
That's how he knew he was a wimp, besides just the fact of being with him, but he watched the fight.
He watched the fight. He saw him make all the mistakes, so he knows that he's not good at this. Which actually leads into another topic that we'll talk about at the end of this too. So basically, Tetsuya's deck got modified to basically just focus around bringing Osmodai back whenever he gets killed, so he can keep on spamming his what was it again?
His skill of discard a card.
No, the name, something backdrop.
No.
What it don't matter. I don't really care. Don't comment about it. It doesn't matter. Point is that Osmodai is the focus of the deck now, and I gotta say, I'm actually really surprised with all the actual somewhat useful tips they bring out occasionally in this show.
Yeah.
It's like they may not be like the best strategies or best maneuvers, but they are viable options.
Yeah.
And they show you how they're viable, so it's like you can't even argue that it's not unless you're stupid. Because it shows you the situation. It's a lot more like it's a lot less situational, tips and stuff that they show than say running a size 3 just to hope you can stop a link attack that can also get a power boost because all clans have, except for maybe Magic World, have a counter power boost card.
Yep.
It's like, so I'm really happy about that. Anyway, so he does that, and then Noboru decides to bring out, I assume, a size 3.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't really tell us much, but I'm pretty sure there's no other monsters on the field at the time.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised if he wasn't. But he's probably size 3, because of the fact that he needs 3 gauge, and since he has Soul Guard, he probably takes a card from the top of the deck and puts it in the Soul.
Yes.
And he has
he has 7 defense, he has Soul Guard, and his attack increases with the amount of dead Dragon Knights in there, and he has double attack.
Yeah, and he also had double attack, right.
And he has 2 crits.
And he has 2 crits, so he sounds like size 3 material. It's hard to say if it's good, simply because, at least as far as I know, we don't know
his original power.
We don't know his original power. It's like, or how much he gets. Because he only used it to kill Asmodai, who has 1 defense.
Which tells
1,000 defense, which means unless he had 0, he was going to get through it anyway. So it's like, we don't know how big he is normally. We don't know how much of an increase he gets. It's hard to say off of that alone if it's good. I'll check on the site later today to see if he actually has like a card of the day thing selected or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's besides the point. Point is that he uses this card to try to gain the lead again, which seemingly works.
Did we also mention that it's one of the most offensive cards we've ever seen?
Oh yeah, it's Geronimo, the Native American that looks like it's like a souped up version of Apache Chief with a totem pole dragon.
With tribal markings everywhere.
Yeah, he's very stereotype.
So offensive.
But like I said, it's okay though because Tetsuya was ready because he built the deck to keep constantly bringing back Osmodais. He had, I forgot the name of the card again. Sorry, it's been a long day because of the sneak peeks. I'm forgetting these cards a lot. But I don't know if we made a note of it. If not, shame on you.
I'm sorry, I don't think I wrote down the name of it. I remember I was just trying to write down the name.
No, it's the case. It's the card that brings back 2 Magic Worlds to the hand. And does so for 2 Osmodais. And he plays them both to killing him twice.
Yep. So that he can attack.
Yep, and then kills him right there. Both Osmodais and a diabolical hardcore.
Yep.
And he couldn't stop it because
Didn't have enough gauge.
he didn't have enough gauge to use any cards that would have protected him. Because sucks to be him.
Yep.
And so he leaves, says what he normally says.
That he just got lucky.
He got lucky. But then I really wish I remember his name. Like I was saying it earlier.
It was like Nasa or
No, it wasn't that. You should have written it down, Em.
I remember I tried to and I could not spell it for the life of me.
Did you at least enunciate it, Em?
Let's see. I just remember I started writing old guy.
I am going to have to get a new writer.
I'm sorry. I have trouble.
Either way, he's out there and says that if you keep telling yourself that, you'll actually start to believe it, which is actually some good insight into what kind of person this Noboru is, which is a very insecure person who feels that he has to be, the best. And if anything happens to make him not, he has to just assume, he has got lucky. He has to assume that if anything goes outside of the norm,
it wasn't his fault.
That it wasn't his fault, that he wasn't even wrong. It's just an unprecedented factor occurred to make it outcome different than what should have happened. Which is way sad, because it's like that's setting him up to
have a lot of character development.
Yeah, and that's what I meant by I'm scared, because it's like, as it stands, he has the best setup for character developments just based on his personality in the show. I say based off his personality because Tetsuya only has room for character development because we know that something happened and he was, I guess, in the dragon world at some point. Yep. Or at least in mountains somewhere. It's like, and that's cool for, like, why did this happen? How did he get to where he is, etc. But it's like, as a character himself, there's not really much to him. Gao's, any chance he had a character development was screwed with the last episode because he's a giant wuss.
Yep. And
so is Roga. Tetsuya doesn't really need development. He's not there for that. And seemingly neither is Baku or Kuru. And Kiri doesn't look like he's ready for character development yet.
Yeah, he'll get it.
I'm sure he's going to. If, like, that preview from way back is an indicator of anything, he's going to be using that certain deck later that's going to be important.
Yes.
But of all the characters so far, surprisingly, Noboru has the best potential. Because now, from what it's looking like, he's going to have a buddy now who's going to teach him humility and teach him how to be an actual knight. At least, the proper aspects of one, the virtues.
Yeah.
Which is usually a setup for a whole lot of, adventure stories in general. Which is surprising, because this is the guy this is the kind of person that I just like to rip a new one, beat on, just to prove them wrong, because we actually had a person like this at one point in time when we were going to Galaxy, who always felt that they were right, even though
we proved them wrong.
We proved them wrong every time, and they would always either say that you just got lucky, or it still doesn't prove anything, and I always just wanted to smack them across the mouth and say, look, you lost several times.
Get over it.
Get over it. Accept the fact that the deck works. It's like, if that person had a person like the Knight, maybe they, wanted to try to get better.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a really interesting tie-in to what we try to say about, the competitives in a couple videos ago, or last video or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, if you try to be too competitive, you're not going to have a fun time, and neither is anyone around you. And that's what's happening with him. In fact, he's more isolated because of that fact. Even though he, hangs around Gao and stuff, and has those quote-unquote friends, you don't really ever see him hanging out with anyone in particular for an extended period of time.
Yeah, he's a bit of a loner.
He's always kind of usually by himself, or just in the group but never actually doing anything. So it's it's a really interesting prospect, and that scares me because I didn't want to like him.
It's frightening.
But now I might have to. Now I might have to like him more than anyone else so far.
If anything, we can like his Knight character.
Even if he still doesn't learn from anything the Knight says, at least the Knight might be interesting because the Knight seems to know what he's talking about. Asmodai is still my favorite character because he just always is like looking on the bright side.
Sumo gymnastics.
Yep, like sumo gymnastics.
Be like a sumo doing gymnastics is impossible. Nothing's impossible for
me. Asmodai.
Turns into a sumo and backflips out of the room.
Yeah, or at least out of something. And he's not in the room anymore when he does it.
Yeah.
So he did it.
Yeah. Don't you doubt him. He will do sumo backflips.
It's funny, but in all seriousness, that's really where the episode ends.
Yep.
I mean, overall the episode was
better than the last one.
Well, shoot, it could have been like a retread of the first episode, and it would have been better than the last episode. I don't even know how they would do a retread of the first episode without it being the exact same thing. There's literally nothing you can do. And I don't know. It was good. It wasn't as bad, but there was still a lot of huge mistakes that were easily avoided. And I'm not talking about from the player moves or anything. I'm talking about from the writers. It's like they have this thing with not wanting to be very consistent with what they have characters do.
I don't know if it's two different writers or if it's multiple writers or what.
But I'm almost half tempted to tell everyone out there who's listening to start a petition to get Bushiroad to fire the writers of Buddyfight and get new ones. Because I have never seen such an inconsistent show in my life. I mean, first episode, 2 episodes were okay-ish. The 3rd episode was pretty good. 4th and 5th episodes were great. 6th episode was crap with a really stupid moral message, whatever. Episode 7 is pretty good, but lots of inconsistencies from the last couple episodes. And not as many, it's not as much stupid as episode 6, but still, because there's at least some likable things in this.
Yeah.
So I want their writers fired, and them to replace with new ones, because this should not be how a
So it's written.
Yeah, I understand it's written for younger kids in the Vanguard audience, but that's no excuse for the inconsistent writing and inconsistent characters. For trying to say that doing OTK is not a
viable option.
Is not a viable option. They showed it was a viable option.
Yeah, I meant an honorable one.
They said it's not an honorable way to do it. It's not the way a person who wants to have fun would play, which, fair enough, it's probably not, but if you really think that...
Why would you point it out?
Not only would you point it out, why would you even add it in the game? Like, penetrate in anything that that has an impact card that does that much damage and effectively gives you a 4th attack.
Mm-hmm.
It can only be bad news. So I mean, and even though we said before how it's not like the most easiest thing in the world to do, I mean, it's not necessarily hard either.
Mm-hmm.
It's still there, and if Bushiroad doesn't want people to do them, I don't know why they would point it out. And that's really the only thing that it could have meant, because the hell else could they have been talking about? He didn't actually hit him. He didn't actually hurt him. He just left and quit school 5 minutes after he lost.
Like a pussy.
Because Gao beat him in 1 turn. Which is the only thing he did do that was different from usual. Even though in the the 2nd episode he said he had a quote where now is not the time to think about how to stay alive. It's time to think about how we're going to win. But that's going back into episode 6, which is probably going to be the worst episode in the series. The next episode I have some hope for, because the next episode introduces Katana World.
Ninjas!
With the, what was it, the best player in
the 6th grade.
Yeah, I guess he must be 6th grade. Or maybe he was 7th grade, I don't remember. I know it's not 8th grade, because that was supposed to be Ruga.
Yep.
So he's either the best player in 6th grade or 7th grade, because someone didn't write it down in the notes. I can't remember off the top of my head. Doesn't matter, though.
I was too busy screaming about ninjas. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible writer.
Sorry for all the inconsistencies, folks. Next time will be better.
Yes, I promise.
And hopefully next week we'll get to get a good look at what ninjas do outside of the ones we already know. Because I can tell you so far, I like their
buddy.
Like the main buddy for the deck. Freaking, if he would be destroyed, discard a not monster card in your hand, and he's not. That's pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
So, guess we'll look forward to that next week. I guess we could talk a little bit about what we saw at the sneak peek, but really it's what you expect. We had SP, Fouling Sword reverse pulled.
Traded away from a bunch of stuff.
Well, that was good.
Yeah, actually it was to get me a Nebula Lord and Elliot a reverse Amon.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so we got those two for the SP.
Oh, good.
And no one's in our group is building Bowing Sword, so.
No, because we're not a fan.
No.
But that's a different story. But that's a different story also altogether. We got these, which was really neat.
Yeah, where are the
up there?
ones? Oh, they're up there.
As you can see, because I only had to open her mouth.
I'm sorry.
As she does, as you all know at home.
Sorry.
We got 4 different kinds, as you can see here.
Yep.
Needless to say, I was a big fan of this one.
Mm-hmm. This was probably my favorite free thing that they've put in.
Because honestly, I don't really use mats very often.
I used to. It's just I can't carry them around
I used
anymore.
to too, but it's like it takes effort to carry around a mat, and it takes effort to keep it safe. And if a mat ever gets worn out, you have to, either replace it if you want it to look good, or
never take it out if it's plastic.
And it's like these. Well, they're binders, little portable binders. You can just put your favorite stuff in them and just take them with you if you don't want to bring a giant ass
binder
thing with you. Especially with the not only the team tourneys coming up in a couple months, but also the Buddyfight regionals coming up in a couple months. I mean, it's really a good thing to have, so you don't have to carry around a big ass binder. You just carry this in your pocket or something.
Like, I am such a fan of these. Like, I've wanted one like that for a while now. I remember Pokemon came out with some, and I was just like, man, why don't we have Vanguard ones? And I can't carry around my binder; it's too big. Yeah. So this is great.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna make things so much easier now.
I mean, usually I have you just carry around all the cards, but hey, now I can probably carry some around too.
It's true. So it's a good aspect to do. I mean, it's Vanguard. There's not a whole lot of other things they can do, but things like mats and this, because you don't need coins for this game. You don't need damage counters or dice or anything.
It's really this or deck boxes.
But I mean, it's still pretty good to have. Like, we got plenty of deck boxes from Vanguard now, because they've given us so many, and we've gotten our fair share of mats over the years. I mean, over the month/year, couple of years. So this is a nice change of pace. I'm trying to think if there's another thing they could do. Like, that they could... Well, I guess they could make sleeves that come with the thing.
Yeah.
But only if they're as good as the sleeves that they make normally. Mm-hmm. Like, I won't settle for, like, those... If anyone out there remembers those Yu-Gi-Oh! Sleeves that came in the tins. I know you don't remember them.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, it was like a 5D's sleeves. They were so terrible. Like, actually, hold on. You keep talking to him.
Alright, other things that happened in the episode. 1, Night Guy has a baby dragon. That's pretty awesome. 2, I believe Alexander screams for Sparta, even though he's not...
No, he does.
Yeah.
And I think they didn't have the Leonidas do it because I think they would we're fearing maybe they'd be retaliated with some kind of lawsuit.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Leonidas looks exactly like freaking Leonidas.
Yep.
He is Leonidas, in fact.
What else? The Red Baron is hilarious with his tiny hand.
Yeah, he got a little hand just poking out of the thing. That's pretty neat. Ah, here it is. Yeah, these sleeves. If anyone remembers these like papery things. I'm sorry, you continue. I just wanted to show people who may not have been around since for 5Ds to see these. But these are the most flimsy things, and they barely hold the card.
That's all.
Like I remember times I would carry a deck around in these, and I would take it out of my box or whatever, and half of them would be halfway out of the sleeves.
Jeez.
Like they would not hold things worth crap. And of course, they were not big enough to hold anything bigger than small card size. So.
Wow. That sounds awful.
Yeah, so it's like if they do something not that bad of quality, I think we could just as much enjoy free sleeves. Because like these binders that they gave us are like the kind of binders you'd find in stores anyway. Not like Monster, but they're not bad.
Yeah. I'll clean that up later, don't worry.
Anyway, I guess that just about does it for this.
One last thing, though, I was going to mention.
Okay.
We have proof that Parako just hates Gao.
I guess so. It's not really an important thing. And I don't think any of us ever actually cared.
I just find it funny.
And the reason she's bringing it up is because when Tetsuya started fighting, she acknowledges that he's a bad player, but doesn't really go beyond that. And when he wins, she's all excited and stuff. It's only when Gao's playing that she has a problem.
It's because she beat her husbando.
Yep, beat her husbando. Never forgive him. Alright, so I guess that's everything, unless you want any last minute things.
Just Bethel finally attacked!
Oh yeah, he did finally attack the Nike's Viking.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry again for the bit jumbledness. It was a long day. As you'll probably notice, the video is going to be uploaded later than usual because
we actually had some problems with our store opening late.
Yeah, because apparently they decided, I'm not gonna be there on time, nor let anyone know, so that they could get someone else to show up and open the store on time.
Yeah.
Freaking, if it ever happened in like my business when I was working there at like Borders or whatever, I'm certain that person would be fired.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
claimed it was for medical reasons.
Even if that's the case, it still shows that there's a problem with the store. The fact that they have only one person there to on call to open it up on Saturday says to me they should probably hire more people. Yeah. And I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'm willing to work if any of you guys are listening.
Yeah, we promote the store a lot, and I know you're a hard worker and you know a lot about the cards. You know a lot about their pricing. So hire Rico.
Oh, there you have it. Personal endorsement. So until the next Buddyfight review, see you guys at the Vanguard episode review, I guess. And maybe...
We already went over last episode, Aliens.
And maybe, just maybe, I will even have a deck profile to talk about, because we got a deck done finally.
We actually have a couple deck profiles.
I'm talking about for Buddyfight.
Oh, for Buddyfight.
Because we have no deck profiles for Buddyfight yet.
Almost have a deck profile for me. Almost.
And we'll also get to some decks from Booster 12, too.
Yep.
But I'm going to prioritize this one because, well, it's going to be our first Buddyfight deck.
I know, it's exciting. Are you guys excited? Can you pull Buddy Rare? I don't know, I tried. I'm not as cute.
What do you think? Okay, sorry.
I'm just gonna hide in the cards.
Tries to quote Parako, doesn't remember what she says. Alright.
Look, it's a Revenger!
Alright, I think that's enough. I guess that's enough stalling.
Yeah.
So until next video, everybody. Yeah, that's all I got. Bye.
Bye!